I'd like to welcome you all to the round table of March 23rd. And I'd like to start with a story and a lesson. It's one of my favorites ever. James Cash Penny, born in Hamilton, Missouri in 1875, came from very lean beginnings. Poor farming family, no money, no wealth, no nothing. But his Baptist preacher father gave him lessons in morals, integrity, and purpose when he was young enough even just to hear the words. And he grew up every day of his life with his father telling him, be honest, have integrity, stand for something, make a difference, and most importantly, remember the golden rule. We all know it. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And he grew up with this. At 19 years of age, he went to work. A dry goods store in Hamilton, Missouri called J.M. Hale. And he was okay. He was a pretty good salesman. He didn't set the world on fire, but he was ambitious. He worked hard. But his father died before his 20th birthday. And in the late 1800s, he died from TB, tuberculosis. This was scary. And the way that cancer is today, that was the dreaded disease then. Doctors said that he would end up the same way unless he went to a warmer climate. Packed his bag, he needed just one, went off on the train to Denver, Colorado. Went to a dry goods store, walked in there looking for a job. But he noticed they didn't do business the way they did in Hamilton, Missouri. Oh, no, no, no. There were no prices. Salesman sized up the customer and determined what can they afford, and that's what we're going to charge them. This was a man who grew up with, be honest, stand for something, the golden rule. Oh, this didn't sit well with Jim Penny at all. He quit. Went to a second shop. Same thing. Haggled over price. No, no, no. This didn't work for Jim Penny. He quit again. But then he saw an ad in a newspaper. In Longmont, Colorado, a butcher shop was for sale. And he gathered his life savings, $200. And he bought the butcher shop. Things were good. There was a major customer in Longmont, the Imperial Hotel. And every week they walked in the butcher shop and they stocked the hotel of all the meats that they needed. Jim Penny was making a nice living. And the man who did all the buying for the hotel, the chef, one day walked to Jim Penny and said, young man, I want a bottle of whiskey with every order. Remember, the son of a Baptist preacher. No drinking, no smoking, no gambling. What does he do? 22-year-old had to make a decision. Do I give the chef what he wants and go contrary to everything I believe in, everything my dad taught me? Or do I stand up for what I believe and possibly lose my life savings and lose my business? If you know anyone who's the son of a Baptist preacher, you know what he chose. Told the chef, go to hell. I'm not buying you any whiskey. And at 22 years of age, after the chef took his business elsewhere, he was bankrupt. Can you imagine that the major stumbling block in your life was your personal integrity? That was his stumbling block. Well, you're 22 and bankrupt. What are you going to do? And he walked aimlessly around Longmont, not a big town, wondering, what do I do? Where do I work? And then he came across a shop with big red letters across the top, about 10 feet off from the floor, and he stared at the sign. The name of the store was the Golden Rule. He said, a sign from God. The Golden Rule? Well, the Golden Rule had 20 shops in the Rockies. But the founding partner of the Golden Room, Tom Callahan, happened to be in that shop that day. And Jim Penny walked in. He said, sir, if the name of this store is any indication of your values and beliefs, I want to go to work for you. It was almost Christmas. They needed part-time help. Tom Callahan liked this young man. All of a sudden, the stumbling block, his personal integrity, started to become a stepping stone. And he put him to work for Christmas. He worked 16-hour days. He was tireless. He didn't stop. He didn't sleep. By the end of Christmas, Tom Callahan and his partner, Guy Johnson, said, "We like you. We like what you stand for. And you should understand, we don't hire employees. We hire future partners. You work hard for us. You learn our lessons, and one day you will be a partner in a Golden Rule store." Oh, this is all he needed. All he needed to hear. For the next 5 years of his life, he worked like no one ever worked. He learned every lesson that Callahan and Johnson taught him. And 5 years later, at 27 years of age, the three men were in a town called Kemmerer, Wyoming. It was typical of the mining towns that grew along the railroads in the West in the late 1800s. And he made an observation about Kemmerer. In this mining town, they had 16 shops, 14 bars, and 2 brothels. That was every shop in town. And Jim Penny said, "Where do you get dry goods? Where do you get boots, gloves, shirts, coats? Where?" Well, it's from the company store at the railroads and the mines. There are folk songs about company stores back then and giving your soul to the company store. Jim Penny said, "I can sell it cheaper. I can sell it better. I can give them a greater variety. I want to open my first store and be a partner right here." Callahan and Johnson were a little bit concerned. A mining town? But they went with him. They believed in this young man. They went with him. They said, "You're a one-third partner." One more time, Jim Penny gathered his life savings, had to borrow $1,500 from a local bank, and he was now a one-third partner in the Kemmerer store. On the day it opened, it set a record for the Golden Rule stores. At the end of 1 year, he had sold more in this tiny little mining town. He had sold more than anyone had ever sold in any Golden Rule store. Callahan and Johnson got together. "We got something here. Oh boy, do we have something here." They went 30 miles north of Kemmerer 1 year later and opened a second shop. And Jim Penny was their one-third partner. About 2 years later, they opened a third shop in Wyoming. And Jim Penny was their one-third partner. The next shop was in Idaho. Next was in Utah. The next was Nevada. And now it's 1908. And all of a sudden, Jim Penny is getting wealthy. The integrity that stopped him, the integrity that was in his way, now was the way. Callahan and Johnson were getting on in years. They thought, and they were at each other's throat, they thought, "The hell with this. There's only one thing we can do with this stock. Let's turn it over to Jim Penny," and they did. They held all the paper. He didn't even need the money. They loaned him the money to buy them out. That's how much they believed in this young man. And he didn't disappoint. In the next 21 years, Jim Penny became known to the newspapers as the man with 1,000 partners. And that wasn't true, because by 1929, he had 1,400 partners. And he had 1,400 stores. And he had $200 million of revenue. He had $40 million of net worth. The integrity that was a stumbling block had become an incredible stepping stone. And by then, Jim Penny decided it was time to take the company public. But before he took them public, he decided to change the name of the store to his own name. And he called it J.C. Penney. Our first speaker is a little bit like J.C. Penney. Ron Polli is the most intelligent guy I have ever met. And I hope you will get a chance to speak to him, because you will probably walk away with that same impression. Right, Ron? Don't disagree. Shut the hell up. Why do I say that? Because Ron Polli's entire life is invention and innovation, day in and day out. Military equipment, home generators that are greener and cheaper. He constantly cranks out new product, disruptive technologies. And what does he do with them? This is my issue. Can intelligence be a stumbling block? And in the case of Ron Polli, I believe it is, because he never stopped to develop those technologies, to leverage them, to market them, to put his heart and soul into them. He went from invention to invention and to invention, and his brilliance kept leading him in this direction. I asked Ron, one business that you love, that you have a passion for, that's it. And what was near and dear to his heart was a business he found 15 years ago called Vontronics in Brick, New Jersey. Vontronics is a VoIP telephone service, voice over internet protocol service. And he's done fairly well. But by focusing, by putting that heart and soul into it, he found something slightly different. TOIP, television over internet protocol. He developed a proprietary product in China that would allow him to give his customers 500 channels of live TV and 17,000 movies for $29.95 a month. My cable bill and Netflix bill is $300 plus every month. $29.95 per month. The idiot, $300 per month. Ron, I may be shaking. Ron Polli is our tech version of JCPenney. He does it better. He does it cheaper. He keeps it honest. One of the most brilliant people you'll ever meet, Ron Polli.
How many people at home have a Fire Stick?
Have a what?
Fire Stick, an Amazon Fire Stick. What was that, six, eight? There's 100 million Fire Sticks out there. 100 million people pay $10 a month for Netflix. How many people pay $10 a month for Netflix? Okay, so we're going to show you a way today to save a couple bucks. So this is I'm using a Fire Stick. It's plugged in over here on the wall. And what we've done is we've put our free app for the Vontronics TV service on the Fire Stick. And now we're going to watch television. How exciting is this? The difference is exactly what Steven said. It's all about saving money and getting more content. The one thing you can't do with a Fire Stick, I was just talking to somebody a few minutes ago about it, the one thing you can't do with a Fire Stick and with Netflix, correct me if I'm wrong, you can't watch a football game, right? There's no live content. So what happens is people are spending money on people have their cable TV. The average cable bill with your internet and television service and telephone service is probably right around $200. That's average. Steven's a little bit high at $300, but not out of the realm, that's for sure. So then people buy a Netflix account because their cable is not providing them with enough content. Is that right? Is that why you're spending money on Netflix? You want more content than what you're getting already? Well, what if you got 500 channels of live television plus 17,000 movies and on-demand titles? And this is coming in across the internet. That little Fire Stick is plugged in, hooked up to the Wi-Fi in the building, which is not the best, so it might drop out a little bit. But we're watching HBO. There's HBO 2, 7 HBO channels. In HD.
You mentioned sports. What kind of sports channels?
So let's go to the sports channel. Oh, actually, we'll go to sports. So this is the electronic program guide. So you have a guide that will take you through all the channels. And the one thing with the Fire Stick, it's not a very easy device to use. We're what Steve was talking about, we're making our own Android box in China right now that is specific to this product. So whereas the Fire Stick does a whole bunch of things, you can put any app on it. The product we're developing will only do the TV service. You won't have to load other apps and dance around things. So these are the channels, if you catch them on the left-hand side here as we go up. We even do have a couple adult channels on here that are password protected so the kids can't get to them with a 4-digit code. And then here comes the sports channels. You've got 150 channels of sports as we're rolling through here, including 10, these bean channels are soccer from around the world. Here's your Pac-10 channels. Here's your 10 channels of NBA, 10 channels of NHL, 15 channels of Major League Baseball, and there's war hockey up there as well.
That's all included in the
Everything you see here is included. And if we go a little past this, we got some UK channels, and when we get up to channel 500, we'll go to Telemundo, and there's actually 30 channels of Spanish content on here as well. And you can have this anywhere in the world, as long as you have an internet connection. You're gonna see the exact same programming as we're seeing here in the United States. So here's a couple of quirky things about it. It's one broadcast for the whole world. It's East Coast time. So if you're on the West Coast, you're gonna watch America's Got Talent at 5 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock, okay? Because it's on the East Coast and there's one feed, the 5 o'clock news, and this is the one that I lose sales over, so I bring it up right up front. The 5 o'clock news doesn't come from Manhattan. It comes from Buffalo, New York. No matter where you are in the world, when you turn on the 5 o'clock news, you're gonna watch the news from Buffalo, New York. And we get a lot of programs from Canada, so you're gonna watch commercials for Tim Hortons as opposed to commercials for Starbucks. So those are the three really weird things about it. What's that?
Better anyway.
Well, Tim Hortons is better than Starbucks. Amen. So this is our live TV content, and then we also have, this is our Netflix content. This was just uploaded yesterday. We record automatically about 200 shows. So what are they doing outside? Blinds? What's the blind? Do you ever check the movie they're making, TV show? Blind Spot or something like that?
Blind Spot is the name
Yeah,
of
let's see if we have it.
Okay.
Blind Spot.
Yeah, you have it.
So every one of these shows on here, we not only have the most recent, but we go back to show number 1, season number 1. So if you want to go Game of Thrones, we've got 8 seasons here. Blind Spot, we've got, what, 3 or 4 seasons. I've never watched the show. But, and then when you turn it on, you hit play, and boom, boom, boom. Sooner or later it'll play. We have a slow internet here, but it'll come up in a second. So these are TV shows. There we go.
How do you say organic in Spanish? Organico, right? In cloth?
So these are TV shows that are recorded.
I don't see them.
And then in addition to the TV shows that are recorded, we have, oops, we have movies as well. And so if you watch, so between TV and shows and movies, there's 20,000 worlds.
So this is $30 per month?
$29.95 a month, no tax unless you're in the state of New Jersey. And you get, it'll work on 3 TVs.
Which means I'm gonna get taxed.
Yeah, because I'm in New Jersey, you're in New Jersey, so you have to be taxed.
Yeah.
So, for the $29.95, you get 3 codes. The codes activate the little Fire Stick, so you can have 3 TVs all going at one time. For an extra $10, you get a 4th. If you have 5 TVs, which most people don't, you need 2 accounts. 2 $29.95 accounts. And I got more content.
So you have to have the carrier of some sort.
You need the internet.
No, I know, but there's a carrier that's gonna get you that, like Verizon's my
Right.
carrier.
Right. Fios, Optimum,
Not
Comcast.
Fios, because it's only got copper in my area.
So you're on DSL.
That's correct.
DSL may not cut it. You need
I know that.
You need 8 megabytes of speed per TV for this to come up with a nice clean signal like we have here. So
Yeah, these TV
DSL
cuts
hangs
into-
around 3 or 4.
And it cuts in, and each time you add something, it cuts into that bandwidth.
Yeah, yeah. So in my house, I have 3 TVs. I have about 70 megabytes of speed. No problem. Plenty, right? So this is what we're doing. So the difference is, I'm not really competing against Netflix. That's not my view is. People are buying Netflix to have in addition to their cable. I want to replace your cable. So my competitor is Fios. My competitor is Comcast. My competitor is Optimum.
Is that, but that's for the content, that's not for the carrier.
Not for the internet. Right. I require
I mean,
that.
I don't pay for the internet either, I just have my service, and then I can do whatever I want with my service.
With
As
your
long as
internet
I-
service.
Sorry?
With your internet service. You
Right,
can do whatever you want with your internet
right.
service, right?
I mean, the carrier gives me access, that's it.
Right. And we can sell, like I said, I already have 3 customers outside the United States. And they're very happy with the service, and it works just as well for them.
How do you compare to the Hulu, and then you're allowed to add the HBOs and Cinemax
Well,
on top
they're-
of that?
they
That's
just-
what I stream, right now, all of that, and I have a lot of stations.
They just started selling 40 channels for $40 a month, live. Because they've had the recorded content for a long time, like Netflix. Now, as of I think, September, October, they were offering us 40 channels for $40, not including HBO. So now compare that to 500 channels for $29, including HBO. So let's just go back to the channels if you want for a second.
And your cost of acquisition for YouTube?
You know what? That's a great question, and I've been doing a lot of online advertising lately. It seems that for every $40 we spend on online advertising, we get a customer. And one of the ways that we get them is we offer a 3-day trial. You can sign up for the service, get a little account, it'll run for 3 days, no charge, don't even take a credit card. 80% of the people that sign up for the 3-day trial convert to a purchase.
And how long has it been up and running?
We've been selling it since September, and gotta be very honest with you, it probably wasn't viable until December. So, you know, the technology has finally got us to the point where we've got a great signal, it's reliable, and I would say that's really started in December's timeframe. So anyhow, just to go backwards here from 200, let's go 200 down. We wanna look at, here's the movie channels. Here's your NAT, history, discovery, and then we're gonna get into, here's all the movie channels now, from 150 going back up. Here's your 4 Showtimes, 7 HBOs.
So you would say your comp is Cody that you can download on a Fire Stick?
Cody is, for people, who's heard the word Cody?
Yeah.
Right on the verge of being illegal. In fact, major lawsuits over in England about in regard to it, because they're not paying the content providers. We do pay the content providers. So that's, but if, and frankly, I got into this business with TV because of Cody, that started. I thought that was gonna be an answer, but it's so convoluted, it's so complex to use, and when you find a movie, you gotta then search for what server you're gonna pull it off of, and sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't. People want cable, they want a remote control with channel up, channel down, and volume. They don't wanna go through all that other crap, you know? So for some people that are techno geeks, we're fine with Cody. But for the average person sitting in the armchair at home, they want something that's a lot simpler.
So you have a lot of amazing channels here that typically would cost anywhere from $10 to $15 per month. How are you able to achieve this, pass on these savings, only 100,000 users?
Because contractually, every one of these networks is gonna get a piece from every customer. So, you know,
I mean, it's incredible to me that.
it was a big deal. And we also give you the UFC fights. In other words, on pay-per-view is black all the time, but those big UFC fights that you see that charge $50, $60, $70 on, we include those.
There's one next week.
Yeah, the ones with the numbers, right, UFC 223 will be next week from Brooklyn. You'll get that at no charge.
So you signed, how did you make contractually, what protects you from, not infringing on any patents or not putting yourself in liability, but ultimately, did you sign one contract with one entity that opened their gateway to all these channels, or you went
No,
one by
I-
one?
The one. I have I have a content provider that has those pieces in place. There's 2 or 3 content providers that go behind this. And so you make the deals with those guys, try to find them, make the deals with those guys, and look where you go.
So what if a person wants live TV, in a sense, they want, you know, CNBC, Fox, or CNN, or what do you do in that case? That's something you don't provide?
No, I told them to go to channel 36 and watch Fox.
Oh, so you carry Fox?
Ron, across
And
the,
CNN and Al Jazeera and BBC.
You have those? Oh, oh, there, okay.
Ron, across the country, as you know, in certain areas, there's drops, so it's difficult, based on how you've
When
got.
you say the word drops.
Meaning, a lot of times, like you said, we don't have a good signal here, we don't have a good signal here. How do you compensate for that, like if it's in the middle of the country and, you know, Oshkosh, you
You
know?
need 8 megabytes of speed per TV.
Okay. And then you're good to go.
It's up to you to figure that part out. I'm
Well,
only
for
gonna
them.
give you the rest of it. I'll give you the requirements. I can't get, I'm not bringing the internet to you.
Right, so that's cutting off part of your customer base, would you say, by them not being able to accommodate that?
Out of the-
Everyone
out
has
of the
8
300
megs, everyone has 8 megs.
Right.
Pretty much.
Okay.
But, you know, out of the 300 million people in the United States, I'll pass those 20 million.
But on top of that, those people, if they really want it, they're gonna get sat feeds, satellite feeds.
Yeah.
And
We do have that. We only care, he's right, you could use a satellite for this. We only care about download speeds. Satellites are awful for upload speeds. We don't care about upload at all. We're totally on the download side. Is there any other questions? I'm kind of talked out. You want to watch more TV? You want to watch
Okay,
Are you concerned about throttling at all with curriculum net neutrality?
I don't really know. I try to stay on top of that, you know, and that's the one kind of weird thing out there, but it's like, yes.
No one knows.
Yeah, it's just-
Ron, it's very clear that this is the best thing since toasted sliced bread.
That's right, that's right.
Okay, so what, you say first round funding, you're already functioning, aren't you?
This is, I can sell this to you today. I got customers who are signing up.
So basically, this isn't startup funding, it's a mezzanine type funding or not?
Whatever you like to call it. I mean, Pete Warner here is.
stage, I would call it.
I'm sorry, sir, early stage?
It's
Okay.
Pete Warner is my financial advisor here.
It's got a fuzzy area there for us, I see.
Yeah, I mean, Vontronics is a 15-year-old company. We've been in the voice over IP. You know what Vonage is? We've been doing exactly Vonage for 15 years. We're not anywhere near the size of Vonage. We never had funding to get it off the ground. It's just a basement startup type business. And now this is taken off like rocket. And the one big thing is every one of my customers, we do a friends and family. So if you're a customer, for every referral that you give us that signs up, you get a free month of service. So it could be 12 referrals, you get the whole service for free throughout the year. So I find people are very apt to get us referrals. We're actually, the 250 is like a first tranche. We're really looking to get to about $4 million to take this out. As you can see, none of the money is going to be spent on development. We're past the development. Actually, right now I need to put $40,000 down on my first shipment of product from China. So that's my hurdle that's coming up right away. After that, it's strictly for marketing. You know, I sell this thing just by talking to people. We're going out with a big campaign on the internet now. I said that $30, $40 per customer. We've done it on Facebook, we've done it on Google. It seems like that's holding true. We've been doing that for the past month and a half or so. And now one of the things I like to do is to set up those kiosks in the mall. So those little push carts in the mall, put a TV on both sides of it, have someone there handing out the remote control. Once you show people this, it's over. It's over. You know, you can see in your own head right now, you're thinking the same thing. Why am I spending $300, right? I'll be over Stevens Castle next week putting this in. Have a TV show.
What do we have to make this
Do you have
work?
Latin channels on this as well?
I think so.
Latin channels, there's a couple Spanish, there's a couple
The reason I
Spanish.
ask because there's a company that does something somewhat similar, and they use the bodega distribution model where, you know, there's 50,000 bodegas in the tri-state area, and they use the folks that actually come and stack the shelves to also market this.
The bodegas I've seen in Jersey City are selling the Cody boxes for about $35 with Cody on them. That's tough to go in and say, I want you know, more that money plus. Because the box, unfortunately, when you spend $30 on a Cody box, it don't really work very well.
I'm just saying, it's a very fast growing demographic and.
People are cutting the cord, it's the number one
They
thing.
care
People are
about
cutting the
sports,
cord.
so you got a bunch of,
Big
Spanish
channels.
Tell me, if you were coming out to my castle instead of his castle, which doesn't even compare to his castle, what would, you have to come out and put something in, or is it something, how does this work?
This
I
is-
I apply, I sign up, I give you $30 or whatever you
Yeah.
ask me.
If you're in New Jersey and you're close by, I'll drive over your house. And that was my initial concept, is that we were gonna be your new cable TV company. And we were gonna come out to your home, we were gonna install it for you. And if you're in New Jersey, I'd be happy to do that for you. However, like the guy signed up last night in Texas, you know, he found the website, I got a little thing on my phone, I'm signing up for a 3-day free trial, guys in Laredo, Texas. I call him up, hey, you got a Fire Stick? Yeah. You got 5 minutes? Yeah, let me put the app on the Fire Stick for you. Boom, 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 he puts it on the Fire Stick, I give him the code, he's watching TV 5 minutes later. It was a 10-minute phone call, he's watching TV on his Fire Stick.
So basically, my investment's gonna be, in terms of hardware, is gonna be a Fire Stick.
The Fire Stick's $40. I would prefer if you bought the box I'm getting from China. The box I'm getting from China would cost us $80. We're gonna sell it for about $100. We're really not into it for making the money so much on the boxes and service. But we do find that people would prefer to rent the boxes for $9.95 over spending $100 to buy them, which seems awful silly.
So do you need a box for each TV?
Yes, you need a box and a remote control per TV.
So you may bundle the box. If you're gonna do up to whatever boxes, the first one's gonna cost me $100, the second 90, the third 85, that kind of.
Yeah, and like I said, just before, you know, there was 6 people in here that have Fire Sticks, you know. We really recommend that for your main TV, you buy our box that really has all the numbers on it. See, the one thing that's a pain in the neck with this is going from channel 36 to channel 236 is a lot of button pushing. If you have ours, you dump to 36 and you go directly to it, you know? So our box works a little smoother than this. But I'll tell you what, the Fire Stick for $40, it's an absolute amazing product. You can see the quality of the picture is dynamite. It really holds back on buffering. Those $30 boxes.
One last question, will
Yes.
this work in conjunction with the TiVo? A lot of people DVR shows. You know,
No, you can't do anything with the TiVo, you can't DVR. We are working, my partner's in China, that's the next piece we're working on, is a hardware DVR.
Does user data play a role in your future revenue plans? Are you
User data?
Are you aggregating user data and selling it?
Never even crossed my mind.
And you know, it's a brilliant question. He's asking you a brilliant question, right?
It goes to being JCPenney and integrity.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have integrity, you ain't gonna do that.
I know, and like I said,
Facebook, right.
it never crossed my mind. When people trust us enough, they give us their credit card, and every 30 days we charge their credit card for the $29.95, and that's it.
Can you fast forward through commercials?
We've automatically erased the commercials for you. So if you go to America's Got Talent or any of those ABC, NBC shows, there are no commercials. We've already taken them out for
And
you.
that's just automatically
Automatic.
done? That's one.
Automatic. So this Entourage, you wouldn't expect commercials because it's a HBO show. But we also have Netflix shows on here too. So the HBO shows, the Showtime shows, like anyone ever watch Ballers?
Yeah.
That's a show, that's an HBO show, but Billions is the show that starts this Sunday night, by the way, is the new episode, and this is a Showtime show, which is
And this will be
dynamite.
available in real time? Or?
Here?
Yes.
Well, you're gonna watch it on Showtime Sunday night at 10 o'clock, live.
Live.
But if you missed it,
Right.
Monday night at 10 o'clock, you can watch it on recording.
That's like an.
So in other words, on Sunday night, I can't watch it on your network?
Yeah, on Sunday, on Showtime.
No, but I can't watch it on yours. Let's say
I
I
have
have
Showtime. I have Showtime.
So,
So you're gonna watch it live on Showtime on Sunday night.
nice.
But if you missed it, you can watch it on the recorded on demand Monday night, 24 hours later.
Ron, what kind of search engines are you using to optimize your awareness and availability on your website?
What type of internet marketing am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're just getting at. I just signed up with an affiliate program. Have you ever heard of an affiliate marketing program where they have all these people that have websites that we do little banner ads on it? I just finished setting that up 4 days ago, and I have 60 affiliates signed up. They have yet to make their first sale. So I'm in that right in the middle of the stage.
So you have a strong SEO that is,
Just-
running everything?
I'm right there. One thing I need more than anything else, I've done the website myself, I've done a lot of this myself. The one thing I need more than anything is a brilliant webmaster.
I have one for you.
I need a phone number. And I need the $2,250,000.
She didn't say, tell you.
Got that too.
Well, there you go, there you go.